Libra, my friend, this message was meant for you. And I need to tell you something up front: you are not meant to stay where you are. Not energetically. Not spiritually. And certainly not by destiny's design. You've outgrown the space you're in, and the universe is preparing to move you. Today's reading is not just a message. It's a divine alert. This is Zodiac Whisper Tarot, and what you're about to receive is a deep, soul-level transmission designed especially for Libra. In the next few minutes, we're going to talk about a shift so profound, so undeniable, that your entire perspective about home, purpose, and direction may start to shake. But first, let me ask you. Have you been feeling out of place lately, like your surroundings no longer match who you're becoming? Have you felt restless in the middle of the night, or noticed repeated signs, cities, numbers, names nudging you from the edge of your awareness? That's not just coincidence. It's alignment. It's preparation. It's destiny, calling you gently but firmly into your next chapter. You see, Libra is ruled by Venus, beauty, balance, relationship, and yet, for far too long, you've been holding harmony in a place where your soul no longer thrives. This is not an invitation to run away. It's a sacred call to come home to a place your higher self has already seen in dreams. In today's video, we'll explore what's opening for you in the spiritual and astrological realms. We'll look at the signs, the planetary alignments, and the sacred whisperings that you may have ignored because they didn't make sense yet. We'll also talk about timing, very specific timing, because what's coming isn't just energetic. It's practical. It's physical. It's real. There's someone you're meant to meet. A place you're meant to find. And a version of you that you're finally ready to become. But none of it can unfold until you make the inner shift and eventually, the outer one. Now, I want you to do something powerful. Take a moment and drop this phrase into the comments right now. I am ready to go where my soul is calling me. Write it. Say it. Claim it. Because the act of speaking or typing it into the physical world sends ripples into your energetic timeline. It tells the universe, I'm listening. I'm ready. I accept. And let me take a brief moment to say thank you sincerely. Every comment you leave, every like you share, every subscription you make connects you deeper to the Zodiac Whisper Tarot family. Your presence here fuels this sacred space, and it's your openness that allows these life-changing messages to reach the hearts that need them most. So from the deepest part of me, thank you. Libra, you are about to discover why your life has felt unsettled. You are going to learn the truth about your next move, and you will feel something unlock inside you, something that's been waiting patiently to be lived. So stay with me until the end. The universe isn't done speaking to you yet. Let's begin. There are moments in life when discomfort isn't just a sign of fatigue, but a sacred invitation to shift. Libra, as we transition from the powerful truth of your divine calling, we enter the quiet ache you've likely carried for some time, the imbalance you couldn't name, but couldn't ignore. It's the subtle dissonance between who you've been and who you're becoming. And when you're as attuned as you are, an air sign ruled by Venus, ever seeking beauty, harmony, and alignment, even the smallest energetic misalignment feels like a fracture in the soul. This isn't about dramatic chaos or outward collapse. It's about the slow erosion of your joy in places where you once felt safe. That office space that now feels suffocating. The friend circle that once nourished you, now full of silence and small talk. The home you decorated with intention, but now feels hollow. The truth is, you've stayed out of loyalty to a life you've outgrown, and Libra, I know how hard that is for you. Your deep empathy makes it difficult to leave anything, even if staying means leaving yourself behind. But your soul has already left breadcrumbs. Maybe you felt it in your sleep patterns, waking at odd hours, stirred by dreams of places you've never been. Maybe it's that sense of restlessness you can't quite put into words, or that recurring image of a distant place that makes your heart ache in a way you didn't expect. These are not coincidences. They are gentle cosmic nudges, the whispers of your future asking if you're ready. Astrologically, you are now under the influence of Pluto and Uranus, two transformative forces that do not ask, they initiate. Pluto clears what is decaying. Uranus liberates what's been trapped. Together, they are shaping a window of time where standing still is not just uncomfortable, it becomes energetically unsustainable. These aren't punishing energies. Think of them as a gust of wind under your wings, meant to carry you out of the familiar nest and into the skies you were always meant to navigate. Even without astrology, your body knows. The headaches. The tightness in your chest. The waves of fatigue. These aren't just physical symptoms, they're spiritual signals. Your energy system is rejecting the environment it's in. The frequencies around you no longer resonate with who you are becoming. You are growing vibrationally, emotionally, and spiritually, and like any living thing, you need a space that allows expansion. I invite you to consider this through a more grounded lens as well. In the story of Abraham, he was not given a clear blueprint of what came next. He was only given an instruction, go. And by taking that step, he aligned not only with his destiny, but with generations that would follow. You don't need all the answers. But you do need the courage to listen when your life stops fitting, even if nothing external has changed. Sometimes, the most sacred move you can make is a quiet one, booking a trip, saying no, choosing silence over explaining yourself, lighting a candle and asking, where do I belong now? That's how faith works. You don't need to be sure. You just need to be available to what's calling you. So if you've been feeling like you're being pushed out of something, a city, a role, a relationship, a version of yourself, don't resist it. You're not being punished. You're being redirected. Resisting this change will only drain you further. But leaning into it, even with trembling hands, will restore your peace. Let this part of your journey be one of gentleness, of honesty, of deep self-trust. And if you're still unsure whether this message is yours, here's a simple way to ask for clarity. Tonight, before bed, whisper, "Show me a sign that it's time to move forward." Then watch what happens in the next 72 hours. Pay attention. The universe is subtle but persistent. And if this resonates with something deep inside you, if your breath catches, or your chest feels both nervous and hopeful, I invite you to write in the comments, "I am listening. I am ready for what's next." It's not just a sentence. It's a signal. And your signal is being received. Sometimes, we don't realize we're standing at the threshold of a new life until the signs become impossible to ignore. Libra, if you've made it to this part of our journey together, chances are you've already felt the quiet pull, that nudge, that whisper, that subtle rearranging of life's puzzle pieces urging you to look closer. What you're sensing isn't a coincidence, and it's not just a passing phase. It's the opening of something far greater than your current circumstances, a door that leads directly into your destined path. But here's the thing, no matter how wide the universe swings the door open, you still have to walk through it. You see, the soul receives its instructions long before the mind is ready to understand them. That's why you might be noticing repeated numbers like 1111, 2222, or 707. These aren't just fun coincidences or numerology tricks. They're frequencies, pulses of awareness that sync with your intuition. When you see them, it's not about the digits. It's about the timing. What were you thinking about in that moment? What were you debating, questioning, doubting, or desiring? The number becomes a divine echo, confirming you are heard, and more importantly guided. The number 11 is the doorway. The number 7 is the seeker, the spiritual student. The number 22 is the master builder. And this week, Libra, these are the energies dancing around you. They are not just appearing for fun. They are anchoring a very real opportunity, the chance to reroute your life towards something that finally feels aligned. Think of these signs: the repeating numbers, the dreams about distant places, the city name that keeps coming up, the unexpected message from someone you haven't heard from in years as parts of a map. You're not lost. You're being led. But here's the challenge. The door to destiny doesn't open with noise. It opens with stillness, with awareness, with responsiveness. Many people see the signs and still hesitate. They analyze, overthink, postpone. But alignment doesn't wait for us to feel ready. It responds to those who feel the fear and step anyway. This isn't about making a dramatic leap or burning bridges. It's about responding. It's about pausing long enough to ask, what am I being invited into? And writing down the answer without judgment. I encourage you to start a journal, not just to track your thoughts, but to record the whispers. The timestamps. The day you saw 1111 and felt something shift. The email that arrived just as you were questioning your purpose. These moments matter more than we give them credit for. And sometimes, the clarity we need arrives in unexpected ways, through a stranger's story, a book falling off a shelf, a conversation overheard in a coffee shop. These are the subtle rhythms of a universe deeply invested in your becoming. In the same way that daily scriptures offer a grounding reminder in the whirlwind of everyday life, these signs are your personal verses, delivered not through pages, but through pattern and presence. They remind you that something greater is orchestrating your next move, not by force, but through invitation. If you've been praying silently for a breakthrough or asking, is it time? Then let this be your gentle confirmation. The doorway is open, but it won't stay open forever. Not because it's cruel, but because energy has momentum, and momentum requires motion. Take that step, Libra. Even if it's just booking a trip, reaching out, sending a resume, or quietly making peace with the fact that you've outgrown a version of your life. If anything you've heard so far has stirred something inside you, I encourage you to share it in the comments. What signs have been showing up for you lately? Have you noticed a number repeating? A name? A song? A phrase? Don't underestimate the value of naming it. When you say it out loud or type it into the world, it becomes real. You become accountable to the calling. So tell me, Libra, what has been whispering to you lately? And are you ready to walk through that door before it quietly closes again? Change rarely announces itself with fireworks. Often, it shows up gently, disguised as fatigue, disinterest, or a subtle longing for something we can't quite name. Libra, if you've felt a shift lately in your body, your relationships, your finances, or even your thoughts, you're not imagining it. You're stepping into a season of total transformation, and everything you once thought was stable is being lovingly restructured to reflect who you're truly becoming. This isn't chaos. It's alignment. And more importantly, it's grace in motion. When it comes to love, you may already sense that someone new is on the horizon, not just anyone, but someone whose soul has been traveling toward yours long before you ever crossed paths. This could be a romantic partner, a soul companion, or even a mentor whose wisdom feels instantly familiar. Don't be surprised if they show up when you least expect it, often once you've made peace with being alone. And for some of you, distance will test and clarify what's real. Sometimes, the people who remain connected through time and space are the ones who are meant to walk with you through the next chapter. Financially, many Libras have felt stalled or stuck not because you're lacking potential, but because you're misaligned with environment or timing. The truth is, money is energy. And energy flows where intention and courage meet. You may be sitting on an idea, a gift, or a project that hasn't had the right conditions to thrive. But the moment you choose to act, to believe, to move, that's when the breakthrough happens. Just like the widow who offered her last jar of oil in faith and received an overflow, your bold move could be the key that unlocks an unexpected blessing. Not through logic. Through trust. Now, let's talk about your body. Our physical health is often the last messenger to speak when we've ignored every other whisper. If you've been carrying chronic tension, fatigue that doesn't resolve with rest, or symptoms without a medical explanation, it's time to look deeper. Your current environment may no longer be energetically compatible with who you are. And that disconnect manifests physically. Once you start aligning with your true path, even just mentally, your body will begin to respond. You'll notice it in small ways first: better sleep, deeper breath, more clarity. That's not coincidence. It's cellular agreement with your soul's decision to heal. In this process, you'll also uncover parts of yourself that have been dormant. That voice you used to silence? It might come back through writing. That idea you once brushed off? It might be the seed of something powerful. You're not starting over from scratch. You're starting from truth, from the version of yourself that no longer needs to perform, please, or prove. This is the version of you that's ready to emerge when you finally say yes to the life you've been postponing. If you're looking for ways to support this inner shift practically, start small. Consider simplifying your diet: more plants, less sugar, not as punishment, but as devotion to clarity. Try walking slowly each morning, not as exercise, but as an invitation to ground your thoughts in the present moment. Sit with a notebook and ask, what does my soul need me to hear today? You'll be surprised at what flows out when you allow yourself to listen without filtering. This kind of change doesn't need to be loud. It just needs to be honest. And you don't have to figure it all out today. What matters is that you begin one thought, one action, one breath at a time. If you had to choose one area of your life to see real, tangible transformation, would it be love, health, or money? Tell me in the comments. Sometimes, naming the desire is the first step to calling it in. It's easy to wait until everything makes sense, until the signs are clear, the money is secure, the people around you approve, and the perfect plan is laid out before you. But Libra, life doesn't always offer clarity before the first step. In fact, some of the most important decisions you'll ever make will be the ones you take in the dark, guided not by certainty, but by faith, by intuition, by the quiet knowing that you were made for more than comfort. This moment in your journey is not asking you to have all the answers. It's asking you to trust the next right feeling and act on it, even if the path ahead hasn't fully revealed itself. Your Libra nature, ruled by Venus, is deeply attuned to peace, harmony, and keeping everything in balance. That gift makes you an incredible listener, a loving friend, and someone who can see all sides. But it can also keep you frozen in place, especially when taking action might disrupt someone else's peace, even if staying still disrupts your own. Right now, life is gently urging you to say yes to yourself. Not out of rebellion. Not out of fear. But out of sacred necessity. Because every time you delay your own breakthrough to protect someone else's comfort, you abandon the very alignment your soul is craving. You don't have to know how it's all going to unfold. That's the illusion that holds so many people back, the idea that you can't move until everything is certain. But look at the card of the Fool in the tarot. It's the very first step of the entire journey. He doesn't carry a roadmap. He doesn't wait for confirmation. He steps out with an open heart and a willingness to be led. This isn't recklessness, it's the power of vulnerability. Of saying, I trust that if I move, the ground will meet me. And so it does. The star comes later in the journey, when you've already faced loss, change, or discomfort. It represents the soft light that follows the storm, the wish you were afraid to say out loud, finally getting its chance to breathe. And the Six of Swords, one of your guiding energies right now, shows the quiet, bittersweet moment when you begin to move away from what once felt like home, even though you still carry pieces of it with you. Healing, often, is not loud. It's the gentle decision to walk towards something better, even if it means leaving the familiar behind. This week, I encourage you to take real action, no matter how small. Create a vision board not just filled with pretty images, but anchored with words and symbols that feel like your truth. Write down 3 cities or places that have been calling to you, even if you don't understand why. Don't analyze. Just feel. You don't need to figure out flights or jobs or housing yet. You just need to listen. And each night before you go to sleep, speak this quietly into the dark. Show me where my soul belongs. I'm ready to hear it. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be available. Libra, you're standing at a divine edge. Not one of danger, but of invitation. You may not know what's on the other side yet, but something inside you does, the part of you that's always known how to create peace, how to love deeply, and now, how to rise. Trust that you're not walking alone. The same force that stirred this longing within you is the one that will hold you through the unfolding. Let that be enough for today. And tomorrow? Just take the next small step. Sometimes the next step isn't about you, it's about who's waiting on the other side of your obedience. Libra, up until now, much of this journey has been about you rediscovering your voice, your alignment, and your path. But this final unfolding brings something deeper into focus. Your transformation isn't just personal, it's profoundly collective. The choices you make now, especially the choice to answer the call and move forward, will echo into the lives of others you haven't even met yet. Think about it. What if the place you're being called to isn't just where you will be healed, but where you will also become a healer? What if the city, the community, the space you're being drawn toward is home, not just because it offers you rest but because it holds the people who need what only you carry. Sometimes purpose arrives quietly, disguised as curiosity. A job opportunity. A rental listing. A spontaneous invitation. And while on the surface it may look like a new chapter for you, underneath, it's a door opening for others to be impacted by your presence. This is how alignment works in the greater energetic field. We are not random specks floating in isolation. We're part of a lattice of light, woven together with divine timing and sacred appointments. There are people, maybe even just one person, who will one day say, "I don't know where I'd be if I hadn't met you." But for that connection to happen, you have to say yes to what's calling you now. Yes to moving. Yes to speaking. Yes to showing up where your spirit feels most alive. And you don't need to be perfect to do this. You don't need a certificate, a following, or a master plan. You just need to be available. Because sometimes, the greatest gift we offer is our presence, unguarded, authentic, willing. It may be a conversation in a grocery store, a workshop you're inspired to lead, or simply the energy you bring into a space that becomes the medicine someone else has been praying for. Often, we assume impact comes from grand gestures. But more often, it's the quiet consistency of someone who has chosen to live a line that becomes a catalyst for others to rise. This is where astrology mirrors the teachings of faith. Just like how the moon pulls the tides without needing permission, your energy moves things. Just like how Abraham walked into an unknown land with only faith as his map, you're being asked to trust that the steps you're taking are not just purposeful for you, but deeply meaningful for a bigger story. You don't have to see how it all fits together. You just need to trust that when you walk forward with an open heart, the people who need what you carry will find you and, more importantly, feel seen through you. So if you've been wondering, is it selfish to go? Will anyone even notice if I say yes to this call? Let me remind you gently, you're not just moving toward a new life. You're moving into a field of divine intersections. Your courage to shift will become someone else's permission to change. Your decision to grow will create space for another to heal. Your willingness to begin again will offer hope to someone who thought they had run out of chances. And maybe you needed this reminder today that you are not invisible. That you are not just a spectator in life, but a spark in someone's breakthrough. Your energy matters more than you realize. If something inside you is whispering, "I think I'm ready," trust that. And if you feel moved to affirm it, write in the comments, "I'm ready to fulfill my purpose." Speak it into existence. The universe hears you, and so do we. If you've made it this far, Libra, then something within you already knows you are not who you used to be, and you're not meant to return to the version of yourself you've outgrown. This entire journey has been a sacred unfolding, and every message you received today was not random, not coincidental, but a carefully timed whisper from the universe reminding you that your time is now. From the moments of imbalance that first shook your peace, to the divine signs that began showing up when you weren't even looking, to the quiet realization that something in your life was asking to be transformed. It's all been building to this. And now, you stand at the edge of a new beginning. You've learned that you don't need to see the full staircase to take the first step. You've discovered that change doesn't start with certainty, it starts with a willingness to listen to that inner tug, that sacred unrest. You've seen how love, health, finances, purpose, all of it begins to shift the moment you stop waiting for permission and start showing up for the life you know you're meant to live. And most importantly, you've remembered that your life has never been a string of isolated events. It's a beautifully interconnected story, and you are the author of what comes next. So let me ask you gently, what will you do with this knowing? Will you let fear keep you anchored to what's familiar but no longer nourishing? Or will you give yourself the chance to begin again, fully and unapologetically? Will you believe that what's ahead is not only better, it's yours by divine design? Because here's the truth I need you to remember, especially when things feel unclear. No one else can write the next chapter for you. Not your past. Not the people who couldn't see your light. Not the circumstances that tried to limit you. Only you hold the pen now. And when you write from a place of alignment, from a heart that has healed, from a soul that remembers its purpose, miracles happen. You were not created to live small. You were not meant to remain stuck in loops of almosts and maybes. You were made to evolve, to rise, and to lead others through your light. That's why your journey matters. That's why your decision to say yes, even in quiet, even in private, is powerful. Your courage becomes a lighthouse for others still lost in the fog. And if you felt that stirring in your chest as you watched this video, that quiet voice saying, "This was for me," then trust it. Don't rush. Don't force. Just affirm it. Let this moment be your turning point. Let it be the sacred pause between who you were and who you're becoming. You don't have to do it all at once. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to be willing. Willing to trust the nudges. Willing to believe in what you can't yet see. Willing to move when everything inside you says, "I was born for more than this." And before we part, I want to take a quiet moment to say thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for listening with your heart. Thank you for giving yourself this time. Every comment you leave, every like you share, every subscription you offer brings more light to this space and keeps our growing family at Zodiac Whisper Tarot vibrant and alive. If this message resonated with you, I invite you to affirm it in the comments by writing, "I accept my divine mission." Your words are not just statements, they're activations. They're declarations to yourself, to the universe, that you are ready to live your truth. And if your heart feels seen in this space, please don't forget to like this video and subscribe. The next one will give you the roadmap for what's ahead, the steps, the energy, the guidance your soul has been craving. Until then, remember this, you are not alone. You are deeply supported. And you are more powerful than you've ever been told. Now go write the next chapter. I'll be right here when you're ready to turn the page again.